Oh my, look at that. The sycamore brought us gifts. Look at all of that bark. There's a lot of it. Now I really want to do something with it. Let's grab the people on it. This one's kind of cool. What are your thoughts on it? Oh, interesting. Yeah, I see. Very good insight. Thank you for your time. We got the goods. Now it's time to go wash them. I initially wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to make, so I sketched out some ideas as a means for brainstorming. You're gonna have to excuse how lightly I sketched, but the idea is there. For this project, Mod Podge is going to be our best friend. I'm using it as a sealant for the bark pieces. It's what I had on hand, but I'm positive there's multiple other alternatives. I just used a paintbrush to cover one side of each piece. I let it dry and then repeated on the other side. It was important to get the Mod Podge in every crevice, so it was all sealed up. It was about at this point where I started running out of room, and not filmed is a multitude of paper plates containing all the drying pieces. If I were to do this again, I'd lay out a lot more space and do all of the pieces in one go. Okay, so I left them to dry overnight and they look pretty okay. It did curl up a little bit, but I'll make it work. We can make it work, right? To try and fix the curled up shape, I covered the pieces that had it the worst and applied more Mod Podge to soften it up again. I then let it dry while bending it ever so slightly the opposite way it curled to flatten it. I moved on to begin working on the corset bodice base. I rummaged through the collection of self-made patterns, digging out a pattern that I drafted for my graduation fashion show. No, this is actually... Okay, so I was wrong. It's actually in this one. This massive pile. In this massive pile of patterns. I don't need that. Was this all the way in 2018? That was a while ago. For the base, I used a polyester fleece blanket material to make it comfortable. Alright, I got these laid out. Now time to pin these bad boys on. I know when I first posted a photo of the finished bark corset onto my Instagram, a lot of people were asking me how uncomfortable it was. And because I used this blanket material for the inside and base, I can happily admit that it wasn't bad at all. I was actually pretty comfortable. Aw, look who's in my seat. I need to sit there, but okay. Is it okay? Okay, it's okay, it's okay. Here I sewed up the seams as normal, nothing too special there. I did then sew the seams down in order to create boning channels. For the boning, I inserted heavy-duty zip ties and rounded the ends of them. I only put in a few, 2 in the back and 1 in the center front. It turned out that the bark worked as boning itself, so I didn't need to use much. I decided to use a loop lace-up closure rather than a grommet closure since it would be easier and more practical. I figured the fragile bark wouldn't take well to having a metal grommet driven into it, so... The part you've all been waiting for. How did I attach the bark onto the base? Hot glue. A ton of hot glue. I considered using something like E6000, but that would have taken me so much longer. Hot glue allowed the process to be quick and fast. Though if I were to do this next time, I'd place something protective between the garment and the dress form, but none of the hot glue seeped through the fabric, so we survived this time. The process itself wasn't very precise. I just started gluing pieces onto places that fit the curve of the bodice. I had no real set idea on placement, I just let my intuition and hands guide me. Decorating this was hands down my favorite part. For starters, I used this dollar store moss and I smushed them together, put the hot glue on the corset, and just squished it in there. For additional decorations, I used artificial flower bouquets and used bits and pieces like leaves from it. It really gives off that vibe of a fairy picking anything up from the forest floor and just wearing it, you know? The only annoying thing I encountered was some leftover hot glue strings, but I guess they could just be regarded as spiderwebs. I then did a test fitting and it actually worked out super well. No alterations were needed, but it was crucial to be pretty careful when putting it on and taking it off because the bar could snap at any sudden movement. So I wanted to turn this into a woodland fantasy character of some kind, so I began working on a headpiece for it. I draped a piece of the fleece fabric in a general shape I wanted the headpiece to be onto a head form, and actually added a protection this time with plastic wrap. Like the bodice corset, there was no exact end goal of what I wanted it to look like. I just let it create itself, really. Not Filmed was adding bits and pieces of moss and trinkets like beads, kind of like what I did with the bodice. You know, a common theme of this project was just winging it. Same goes for the makeup. I had a general idea of what I wanted, and I knew I wanted to use these cool contacts from Fresh Lady, but had no initial direction. Though I think it all pulled together once the headpiece was on. Here you can see the beads and miscellaneous decorations I placed on the headpiece. When flipped over, there are combs for placement on the head. I just finished getting ready. All there's left to do is just do the photo shoot, and I think we're done. Check out these pants. They're the only brown pants that I had, and this is all that I was capable of doing last minute, so let's go. I have no idea where this is gonna go, but so I think I have enough. It's getting really hot out here, and I've been in this for like 2 hours now. I think it's time. I did good though. I only have my phone right now for pictures, so I guess I'm just gonna edit that. Hi, and guess who came for moral support? Hi, buddy. Hi. Oh, okay. So overall, I think it was pretty much a success, albeit I don't know how many wears I can get out of that without it starting to break. And I don't know how long the Mod Podge will hold up either, but it worked for what I needed, so that's all I could ask for. It was a learning experience, and I'm sure you found it somewhat entertaining. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me. Bye!